Next, it's my absolute honor to invite Ms. Beverly Longid, the Global Director, International Indigenous Peoples Movement for Self-Determination and Liberation, to deliver her intervention. You have the floor.
Thank you very much. Gawis ay agaw, kanda kayo data ko amin. Warm solidarity greetings to all, especially to my colleagues from the civil society who are joining us both offline and online. Yes, I am Beverly Longid. I am an Igorot, one of the Philippines' many indigenous peoples. University graduates Chad Booc and Jurain Ngujo became full-time volunteer teachers for the Lumad, one of my country's most marginalized indigenous groups. They joined and supported the Lumad people's struggle for ancestral land and self-determination. On February 24 this year, they were killed with 3 other volunteers claiming they were members of an armed group. Their deaths presents a grim picture of human rights and development in our region. Human rights monitors indicate that Asia and the Pacific, human rights, land, and environmental defenders face increasing violence. As we open the 9th Asia-Pacific Forum on Sustainable Development, we remember, we honor Chad, Jurain, and other defenders in the region who sacrificed their lives for people's rights, climate, and development. If we want to build back better, listen to the voices of indigenous peoples and the people's movement. Indigenous peoples and grassroots communities play a vital role in developing alternative approaches and sustainably managing resources and biodiversity, a truth that has not reached adequate public recognition and attention despite the agency that could benefit everyone in caring for the environment and seeking sustainable development. If we want to build back better, we need to look back and acknowledge the root structural causes of inequalities. 2 years into the COVID pandemic, we are light years away from achieving the SDGs, especially on education, gender equality, life below water, life on land, and means of implementation. The pandemic disrupted the process of attaining these goals and exposed the growing inequality and inequity between the wealthy and the poor. We must recognize structural barriers that perpetuate inequalities and act on them using systemic approaches. We pursue people-centered development by addressing humanitarian relief alongside long-term goals. We build peace by addressing neoliberal paradigms that cause and aggravate social unrest. Indeed, parties to the conflict should engage in sincere and meaningful negotiations and dialogues. If we want to build back better, ensure people's meaningful participation and effective engagement that leave no one behind. Civil society is in the best position to speak on the realities on the ground and forward solutions that are suited to our context. Unfortunately, we are under attack, as dissent and activism are criminalized and tagged as abating acts of terror. We must stop this, and as we assert our inclusion and expand civic space now and beyond the pandemic. Development actors, specifically donors and governments, should protect civil space and uphold the integrity of inclusive multilateralism to achieve our shared goals. Let us ensure the full, effective, and meaningful participation of the marginalized and vulnerable, indigenous peoples, peasants, workers, migrants, the Dalits, women, youth and children, LGBTQI, and persons with disabilities. Development justice embodies looking back and learning, recognizing and solving structural barriers, becoming accountable, upholding human rights, and bringing in people's participation. Let us build back better by collectively working for system change. Kasin, gawis ay agaw kanda kayo amin, iyaman, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Madam, for your statement, the sobering reality that you bring, and for your participation.